Good morning, my friends. We're back inside the building. How are we doing this morning? Welcome back to Breakfast with KXVU here on the Big Bad Trickstar Radio. It's just gone 9:30 and we're moving into the second of today's exclusive interviews, which I'm really excited to get into. Next up, we're going to be speaking to a vocalist and a producer who has such a unique sound. If you've already been locked in, you would have heard just how incredible those tones and just general harmonics are on that tune. It goes by the name of Island. We're live on the line with Animai. How are you doing this morning?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm fantastic, and I can tell you're full of energy. It's brilliant.
Yeah, I just went for a walk, so yeah.
Oh, fabulous stuff.
The morning walk, the lockdown morning walk.
morning walk. It starts with capital The.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. Well, we've got loads of stuff to dive into. I'm really looking forward to getting into this conversation because there is so much to talk through. And the thing I kind of want to start with, obviously, you've got quite an interesting history when it comes to the actual sort of production and sort of roots into vocal side of things. So do you want to take me back to the sort of beginning of your route into music creation more than anything else?
Yeah, sure. I mean, we could go, I don't know how far back to go. So I sort of grew up playing violin and singing quite choirs and musical things and that. And then I ended up studying jazz for 4 years at Trinity College of Music. And when I finished my jazz degree, I realised I'd sort of fallen into a into a jazz vortex. And I'd forgotten about all other music, and I got taken to some electronic music festivals, and then I realised there and then that I wanted to make electronic music. And I got back from doing a summer of festivals, and I just thought, oh my God, I should have done the music technology section of my degree, and I didn't. So I just opened Logic, and I just started watching loads of YouTube clips and talking to friends and learning basically how to use it. But I'd written songs and stuff before, but I hadn't, and I'd done arranging before for instrumentation, but I hadn't actually like composed like that. So yeah, that was about 10 years ago I started doing that.
Okay, wow. So it's an interesting way of kind of getting involved, obviously coming from that much more sort of, I suppose, with the sort of violin side, quite classical background, then moving obviously through the jazz background. You've been through a lot of areas already, I suppose. Yeah,
my family, I've grown up with quite an eclectic lot of music surrounded with, a lot of jazz and sort of musical stuff. And then my mum was massively into sort of like bands and disco and, just loads of stuff. So it turns out I had quite an eclectic taste. Well, until I studied jazz and then I only listened to jazz. I don't recommend it.
I'd be really interested to hear what a jazz vortex actually sounds like. To be honest with you, it sounds like a good time.
I'm not sure.
So kind of moving forward then, obviously you've then kind of moved into a lot more of an electronic sort of style. So when do you kind of find this combination of sort of vocal and production elements beginning to kind of gel and work together?
As in, when did that start to happen?
Yeah.
So I started working. I didn't think I could produce. I had this sort of constant thing that people were saying that, you're a singer. And I was making these beats, and I was like, I think they're good, but I always thought, it must be like learning an instrument. Like, it took me so long to learn the violin and to be good at singing that, like, I was convinced that it must take me that long to be good at production. And so I sort of really doubted myself, and I went and worked on lots of different projects with different producers. I ended up meeting Vaughan through a friend, and then he introduced me to Wayfarer, Alex, and so I ended up taking over with Vaughan, and then writing Reflections with Wayfarer, and then that started to really gel, and then I started making music, more like 140 in my production. And then it just sort of went along, and actually, like, Vaughan, Dan's been a really good friend, and he's very encouraging of, like, he was like, of my production. That was really nice, because before that I'd had a lot of male producers and male friends sort of implying that I was just a singer.
I mean, I find that so bizarre that, like, if you come from that sort of musical background, especially, surely you would be more naturally inclined to lean towards the production side.
Yeah. Yeah.
I find it, honestly, I find it so bizarre to kind of have that thing of, oh, you're a singer, so you don't necessarily, it's not an area you should be rolling into. I find it, just in general, really bizarre. And obviously with that, did you find that kind of actually spurred you on more?
Yeah, in a way it did. And I had, as it went along, you just, pick up some good guys, some good friends along the way. And it was just like literally probably about 2 or 3 that were like really supportive, and that sort of led me to be like, no, I actually can do this. This is, I don't know what I was thinking before. And as I guess the sound has sort of like grown over time, as in it's a combination of things that I love. So obviously I really like sound system culture, and I've been out to Outlook and festival and sung there, and I love that music. But I also love like quite a broad range of music, and so I guess it's a big. The overall sound is influenced by all those aspects. It's
Definitely
influenced by, and hopefully you can hear that. But maybe that's the why it sounds different. I don't know if it does sound different. But I can't hear it because I make it. But in terms of it's I have no idea. People are like, what is it? I'm like, I don't know. It's electronic. I think it's jazzy. I don't know. But yeah, definitely like incorporating live instruments. Because that's definitely part of my journey.
100%. I mean, this is the thing. When I first heard your name and started hearing the stuff that you were putting out there, I remember being really blown away just by the use of space. By the use of kind of depth of sound, by the harmonics involved as well, as I said in the intro. And it was something that really, really struck me as both a unique sound and quite a striking sound as well. The combination of those very, to an extent, production-heavy elements with all of that sort of distance being used, all the space, all the reverb and stuff like that. It was such an interesting sort of area to stumble onto. Like, do you get people kind of, as you said, I'm assuming you get a lot of people asking you, like, what genre is this?
Yeah, I think as an industry, the music industry is still trying to put you they need to know who to put you up on a lineup or a festival or what playlist would you sit on, or there is still this thing of what genre are you, and I do struggle. I'm like, I guess it's down tempo electronica. That's a new one I found. That's now something I can say.
That sounds cool as well, to be fair. Down tempo electronica sounds really cool.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. I'm going with that now because that's
what it is. We've decided here on the show. There we go.
Yeah.
Explosions and everything. But yeah, so kind of moving forward then, it's really interesting to hear about like how you define your sound as well, and obviously with all that history and musicality, I suppose, going into it, it is interesting to take in. What I want to do next is jump into one of those tracks, one of those incredible compositions. We opened up with a tune called Island, but I really want to talk about this tune. It goes by the name of Tigers. Again, really, really interesting sonically. Talk to me about how this tune came together.
Oh my God, how did Tigers come together? I wrote that quite a long time ago. I actually redid the drums probably about a million times. It feels like a million times. I lost my mind slightly in the lockdown.
As you do.
Yeah. I mean, we were all losing our minds, but I was just going along listening to hi-hat rhythms, deciding what needed to be changed. I'm not sure I needed to go through it that many times. How did Tigers come about? I guess it was, there's a lot of, I was talking about shadow work a lot, which is in mental health is when you're learning about the darker sides of yourself, the things that maybe you don't like, and you're working through them and trying to understand yourself and to know yourself better, and that's what the lyrics were about, and the sound in my mind is quite dubsteppy, which is it's not actually a 140 beat, but there was, I don't know, originally I think Wayfair had sent me a very small sort of 16 bar loop of something that sounded a bit like FKA Twigs, and this is years ago, and I think I'd sung some of the melody to that, and then I'd kept it. And then about 3 years ago, I decided to turn it into a tune and add strings. And then like a year ago, I redid the drums, and then finished it, and then it came out.
And then we ended up with this. Well, we're going to jump into it right about now. I'm really excited to do that. This one goes by the name of Tigers. We're live on the line with Animai here on Breakfast with KXVU. Don't go anywhere.
This is Breakfast with KXVU, bringing you their morning flavours on Trickstar Radio.
Trickstar Radio.